Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Small Business Success Talk. I am your host, Christy Smallwood. I am based in Louisville, Kentucky. I own multiple businesses. I get all kinds of things going on, but I thoroughly love doing this show for you with my friends. Even if they didn't know they were my friends whenever we first became my guests, they become friends now. So I am so glad that you have chosen to listen to this podcast above all the others that you have on your list. Thanks for including us. I do want to give a huge shout out to a sponsor partner of mine, which is the Chamber of St. Matthews. So as a business, it's always a smart thing to get involved in the community because you're building additional connections with other businesses through that avenue of an organization that kind of already sets up lots of opportunities for you to meet your fellow business owners in the community. It also gives you a great pulse of what's going on for business in your community and in the region in which you're in. So tap into your local chamber. If you don't have one locally, we still do a lot of things virtually. So we would love to have you check out our chamber. It is the Chamber of St. Matthews. And tell them I sent you because I keep forgetting to do that. And we get points. Like there's a point system for us if we bring in new recruits. So tell them I sent you and then I get points and then we all win because it's a great chamber. Okay. So aside from that, thanks for listening on that. We do this show. I try to keep it weekly, but come on, I own multiple businesses. It's hard for me to get guests scheduled because I don't have a producer yet for the show. I am my producer. So I'm always looking for great guests to help spotlight their business. I want to hear their story. Like what got them into doing what they do? What makes them tick? What challenges have they overcome? What is their version of success? All of these things. I love to hear it. And I love to share that with you. Now, this episode, however, is slightly different. This one I've been thinking about for a little while because I also want to be able to provide every so often something that is more maybe tactical for what you need, but I don't want to make it like the whole podcast because that's good. Look, this episode is going to be a little wild. I'm going to tell you now, you definitely want to get a notepad out just in case, or bookmark this or make sure you flag it to come back. Hit the little heart button, put it in your favorites, whatever. I have put together my group of friends, and I have now called us the Marketing Mavens. We each have our own businesses. They have been guests on the podcast before, so definitely go back and find their episodes. One of my Marketing Mavens did not get to make it on this episode because she was out sick with COVID. So we're like, we'll bring you in next time. Don't worry. This episode, I have Kristina Stubblefield with SoIn Media Group, and I have Amy Torres with Director of Marketing Inc. Brittany Murphy with One Thing Marketing, once she gets well, will be part of this group as well. I am thoroughly excited. And it's funny because as I'm doing this intro after the interview, so we did the episode, y'all, I mean, they're all up my girl at some point at different points about different things. You're going to be entertained because I step right into it. So it's going to be informative. Absolutely. We're going deeper into the marketing side of business because I know from working with my clients and running my own businesses that our number one thought typically and every day is how do we get more business in? Well, that is sales and marketing. So why not bring these group of wonderful women who run their own businesses and are very successful with their clients, and we talk about those things. Not that guys are excluded. It's that I already know how much of a rock star these ladies are. Besides, it's kind of cool to call us marketing mavens. Why not? So with that, without further ado, here's the episode 1 of the Marketing Mavens under Small Business Success Talk. Back to Thank you, ladies, for joining me today on this episode of Small Business Success Talk. So for everybody who just missed it, because it's been edited out, all of my technical issues, I apparently am a weird person when it comes to the microphones. I have
just
everything.
Microphones?
No, actually not, because nobody's on camera. Nobody's seeing the hot mess that's on the other side of the room right now.
I wasn't even talking about it in this room. But go ahead, you're talking about microphones.
Everywhere. For those of you who are just joining us, you're going to find out how fun this conversation is going to be. So gird up your loins, because I now have my marketing friends. What? No,
I love that. Marketing friends.
It's very appropriate to say gird up your loins. I would get a notebook handy if you're somewhere where you can take notes, because I'm pretty sure you're going to want to either listen to this 50,000 times to be able to get all of it out of it. But we're now going to start a new special episode series. Every once in a while, we're going to throw in my friends who are the Marketing Mavens.
Ooh, it sounds like we've got like kind of a permanent spot.
We have capes. Yeah. And we have capes. They're hidden now.
Okay. We all have our own special superpowers that we have. And unfortunately, one of our teammates is not here today because she is suffering from the vid. So told her just rest.
Get well soon.
Yes. We'll bring her in next time. But both of you have been on as a spotlight business owner for Small Business Success Talk, both Kristina and Amy. So welcome in, ladies. I'm so excited you said yes to this.
Thank you for having us.
Most definitely. Thanks.
And I honestly did think that you guys already knew each other before you arrived.
No.
And they did not. So
by the time we leave, it'll be like we've known each other forever.
Well, I mean, before we even got here in my proverbial green room, we're already talking about all the crazy crap with the changes and keeping up with stuff and how fast everything is changing. And that, quite frankly, we're just over it ourselves. So what is it like for small business to have to keep up with marketing? Let's start with that question.
It's a full-time job. The business owner's like, yay. I started my own business, but now I've got crap work to do called marketing.
Yep.
It's a lot to keep up with. Honestly, there's so many changes that happen on a daily basis. Some happen with multiple times a day. And I think that's where small business owners get very frustrated because, they get their minds wrapped around it a little bit. And then the next week, something's changed.
It's totally different the next week.
Yes.
Well, and I try to put my ad together and now it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? It's because the software has changed. And there's no instructions that go out to say, hey, this is what you need to do now to get your stuff posted or loaded or promoted and boosted.
Well, and a lot of people, you get in this rhythm. And let's be honest, how much of us really like change or change on that level? If we're being honest, we don't.
No.
And especially when you're trying to help people and you're either providing education to them, you're providing services, it can sound a little squirrely, to be honest with you, that, 2 months ago, I told you this, but now there's been a change and I've got to tell you this.
Right.
And there's so much education that comes into services, there's no way around it, because I'm sure both of you all are the same. You want people to understand why you're recommending or suggesting this path. There's a rhyme and reason to it. And if you really sit back and take off your marketing hat and try to forget what you really know, as a business owner, gosh, it's a whirlwind.
It's look, a couple of years. So during 2020, one of the things that I was doing was putting together video tutorials, how to use. And at the time it was just, Kristina's about to bust. It used to be just Pages Manager. Okay, Pages Manager.
What are we at today?
It's Meta Business, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it literally, I did the video tutorial, was getting ready to package it as its own little course for people to take. And seriously, 2 days later, the
rug. Right
yes, that's a much better way that I was going with the calling it names.
Sometimes with no real heads up.
No heads up.
There's not really, a lot of companies have roadmaps. Software companies, systems have roadmaps. Well, today Facebook woke up and this is what they're going to do. Welcome to Meta. And you're trying to do something good for people, whether it's free or they have to purchase it. And wow, it's just overnight completely changed.
And it's not just digital. I did notice
about Gannett. So Gannett, whatever, publications bought Courier Journal here locally.
Yes.
And that paper, I don't buy the paper. I am not the newspaper person. So I'm sure there's a crap ton of people out there like that because apparently it is 1,000 times smaller than it used to be.
Yes.
And so you don't have, like, even that has changed dramatically from 10 years ago.
Well, and even going into radio, a lot of them don't subscribe to Nielsen anymore, so you don't get ratings. So you can't count how many listeners do they have, but it doesn't mean it's still not impactful. It's
Ratings?
just the ratings.
Ratings? Oh, we should track numbers. You went down the path that people already know that. But you're exactly right.
The information's not there anymore. So there's some things you're blindly doing and combining it with the other things that you know that you can track.
Based on experience.
Yes.
And based on track record and businesses out there that haven't done it before. Lack a better word, the blind leading the blind, honestly.
Absolutely. Yep. That's a lot of small business. And I was just on a Federal Reserve webinar this morning, Federal Reserve Bank. So they're giving the numbers of self-employed. So the trends of self-employed now. And the trend, we talk about this great resignation. There's a huge percentage of that turned self-employed. So it's not like they don't want to work. They just chose to work for themselves now. So the influx of people having their own businesses who don't know how to market themselves, do marketing, advertising, all of the stuff it takes to get their business to grow and be sustainable, are now in the marketplace trying to make it work. So
not build it and they will come, or open your doors and they will show up.
Put a sign out.
No one shows up if you just open.
Wait a second. You can't put a sidewalk sign out. It depends on what city you're in.
It does depend on what city. And there's still so many cities I'm amazed. Palm Springs. Have either of you been to Palm Springs? Yeah. So I was amazed when the first time I went there that there was a no billboard policy, like ordinance, no billboards.
Vermont doesn't have billboards either.
I was flabbergasted the first time. And this has been 2007. It's been a long time. And I still remember the experience of looking out. I was like, the skies are like open and clear. There's no advertising messages in my face all the time.
Yeah. But then when you drive to Indiana up I-65 North, it's like, hello, here's every business we have right here, right now for you. Just watch the billboards.
Blink. Yeah. Don't blink. You'll miss it. But that's a whole nother episode. I think some of the regulations there about putting out flags or sidewalk signs and things like that. Look, we have to take into account what everybody's been through, even before the pandemic. Is it really that big of a deal? I get it about being handicap accessible, not causing a trip hazard. I understand all that. But there are some places in our area that make it is a feat to be able to do signage in front of their business. Honestly, and I've worked with many a small business that I'm sorry, why did I pick this city?
Right.
And so you're right. The frustrations go well beyond digital marketing.
And of course, as we all at this table know, and those are listening, the change is happening exponentially more rapidly than ever before. So it's like, okay,
buckle up.
How do you all handle it? Like, we're the professionals. How do we handle it?
Well, you can no longer do annual marketing plans, right? Because what you're projecting in the future probably won't happen because that tool might not be available, or it might be so different that it doesn't make sense anymore, right? So chunking down things, still want a plan, still want a strategy, but looking at, okay, let's chunk this down to a month or 12 weeks. And then let's reevaluate. And I think reevaluation of marketing plans need to happen more often than that annual. And so many small business owners don't do it at all. And they really need to have some kind of plan or some kind of guidance so they're not just wasting money. And the other thing I'm going to harp on is starting a campaign and stopping a month into it. I'll just take your cash. Like, you literally just burned up money. But if you're going to have a plan, stick with it and give it an opportunity to work.
Yes.
But you still need to reevaluate more often.
Track the numbers.
Yes, absolutely. And there's so much in what you just said there. I do think that you can still look at the year as a whole because there's opportunities that you want to plan ahead for. Maybe you have an annual event, many things like that. But honestly, I'm really finding 60 to 90 days. And I have a feeling possibly even into next year, it might be something that we're more at 30 to 45 days. That's a challenge in itself. We're back to a lot of explaining and a lot of educating of why that needs to happen. I think we could all agree here, especially digital marketing has really changed to a collaboration. And one of the things I've been saying lately is, the whole spokesperson thing doesn't work anymore. People want to connect with people. And especially for small businesses, I'm not going to be there when someone comes in to do business with you. So me doing videos for you or this and that, why would people want to connect with me? Because that could potentially take away from your business. So when you start reeling back some of those plans and how you're evaluating it, what that can mean for others is, more content creation or being more involved in it. And I don't think that pattern is going the other direction anytime soon, because what I noticed with a lot of our clients was, especially coming through the pandemic, people want to connect more with people, real relationships, authentic material. When we talk about small business, authentic material performs better. And gosh, it's just mind-blowing to sit here and be talking about we're really in quarterly marketing plans. When you look at just a few years ago, annual was where it was at.
Yes.
And that's hard to explain, hard to break down, I think, for a lot of business owners, maybe even more on the corporate level. But for small businesses who are wearing all the hats, frustration's not the word, and figuring out how to muddle through that. A clear plan, and your favorite word, strategic. Yes. Strategic has never been more important. It's just different than it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and for business owners also to not only be the face of their company, but have their team be part of that face, right? And interact. And also listening to your team members. I spoke to someone this morning and he's like, I was rewriting all of my employees' content. He's 74.
And how old are they?
31, right? But his audience,
who's their target audience?
31-year-olds, right? And it's just, but he's like, I've been doing this for so long. I'm like, I understand, but your target has changed. Your baby boomers are no longer your customers, right? So how do we approach your ideal customer in the messaging? Do we still want you to be involved? Absolutely. You're the owner of the company, but highlighting yourself and your team so people can make connections
with others that are more into the target audience.
Yes.
So the picture that keeps coming to my mind is that it's almost like everything that is changing towards increasing engagement and being authentic, yada, yada, yada. Like we've heard it ad nauseum. But it almost feels like we need to get back to thinking like in terms of Mayberry.
Yes. I was thinking Main Street, right?
Right. Same concept, right? We need to get back to that. It's pushing us to get back to genuine hometown relationship where a handshake matters. You know everybody, you know their friends and their brothers, and when they graduate, their birthday. Some people are especially gifted for that. I am not. I need trackers. I need Facebook to tell me it's somebody's birthday because I'm horrible at tracking that stuff. I love people. I'm horrible about it. So anyway, the tool makes up for my weakness. However, everything is pushing towards making those genuine connections and genuine relationships without the masks that we've created over time.
I think what you've just said, genuine connection. There's so much power in the relationship. It's a completely different way of thinking than what we've been in. You market to the masses or to the target audience. And how do you drill down to really bring in your target audience and make them part of your business family? How do they become part of what you have going on, to where you can more solidify those authentic relationships and nurture them. Hello, there's a word.
Yes.
Nurture them. So many people say, oh, email marketing is a thing of the past. Well,
no, it's
if
not.
you have a good quality database, again, quality over quantity in most cases, that is a way that you can massage those relationships or nurture your database, whether they're new to your business, whether they've known you or been part and shopped with you or done business with you for 20 years. You can segment those audiences, but still get them into your fold where they feel connected. That is what you're circling around. And there's some magic to happen there. But when you peel back the layers, you're really talking about a more simpler time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, try to talk to a small business owner about that. Like, we're having this conversation, but wait a second, we have all this technology and we have all these great things.
And I just want people to come buy what I got.
But the quality in that one conversation, that one email exchange, that one message on Facebook, or that one DM, that connection on LinkedIn. I feel like so many times people, I don't want to say blow it off, but don't see the value in just that one interaction. And that's really what you're hitting on. You don't have to have the masses necessarily to support your business or help you succeed or reach your goals. And I think that's a little strange in the day and age we have been in.
Well, small business owners compare themselves to large companies. How do I compete with Walmart and Amazon? I'm like, you don't. Right? That their audience is not your audience necessarily. There's going to be some similarities, but what an impact would it be if you got a handwritten thank you card, right, for your last purchase? That's going to stand out, and it's a bunch of little connections and little contacts that build up to mean something and be meaningful. This morning on the news, pretty sure they were saying it takes 50 hours of time spent together to build an acquaintance and 90 hours to build a great relationship. That's pretty shocking. That's a lot of hours, right?
Wow.
So think about how many hours.
Spent that many hours together?
I don't know. I can't keep track. I got too many numbers.
Still an acquaintances.
I don't know. I don't like labels.
Right. I know. It is a label. But it's
what news were you watching? Just kidding.
Should I give them credit?
No, I just was joking. Saying, or was it this?
It was a local news channel. But I was really surprised by that. And that struck out. Now, I wasn't paying attention, right? Because I'm up putting a shake together. But that shocked me that it took that long, because I think some people are naturally quicker to build relationships, but it is relationship building and it is creating a genuine connection. And business owners need to explain to how are they helping that person? It's not just buying a product or service, but what is the impact of that service or product that I have on their life that's going to make their life better?
Okay, so I'll just share some challenges I have been having as my own business lately. Because I don't know about you guys, is it easier for you to work on your own business or harder?
Harder.
No comment.
It's tough whenever it's your thing to write your stuff for your thing and
putting yourself first. I mean, let's be honest. Who comes first?
Sorry.
It's never been me, and I have a hard time getting there. And that's a whole other conversation.
Usually the person behind the business is last. Your business is usually in front of that.
My priorities in a day are anything my clients need first, and then who else is waiting on me to get their thing done. And by the time I get to the end of that, I'm spent. I hardly ever get to my own stuff, but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I get to my stuff too. I need to say that as soon as I have a challenge getting on my things. Like, how do I it's not necessarily, I'm never going to position myself first. So we know that that's part of the challenge, and how do we keep up? So on my wild ass board over here, I have this. I'm going through a transition in my business. I've now officially separated the brands, because everything I was doing, while it made sense, once you were in the business as a client, everything I did made sense. But to the marketplace, it was too much to figure out it was sensory overload. Love you, Christy. Don't know how to work with you. Don't know where to focus. Okay, fine. Or you've got so many things going on. I don't want to bother you.
You're too busy.
You're so busy.
And I'm never busy. Tell everyone you're planned. everything's planned, right?
So the impression that was happening out there too, as part of the feedback, was like, this shit's got to change. So
have you talked to my Tammy? Okay.
No. So actually on my last trip to Disney, I'm taking the Disney approach. Disney World Resort has multiple properties with multiple brands, multiple things, but it's all under the umbrella of one resort. So I have a league of brands. So Eagle Eye Strategies LLC has a league of brands, meaning Eagle Eye Strategic Marketing does marketing and strategy and business coaching. Crusados is now Strategic Leadership Development. That's where my coaching and training, my group training, the facilitation adventures, so I could take you to train you at Disney World, that kind of stuff goes under Crusados. Then I also have this podcast. I'm going to be launching a second podcast because I really think I need to have a separate conversation about separate things. I love this podcast. I love this show, but this is for small business specifically.
Right.
The next one is going to be a different vein of conversation. It's going to be a little bit more random and definitely #unfiltered. And people like that from me. So I'm going to just give them what they like.
I expect to be getting an invite.
Sure.
Be on that.
I will definitely ask
Some
for
unfiltered conversation.
Unfiltered conversation. So one of the things for me is I have to then get down to that target market and really hone in on writing it. Well, I finally just said, fuck it. I can't write all of the fluffy words that.
Oh my God, we can cuss on this?
Yes.
We need to start over. What the hell?
Yeah. No, yeah, we're good. We're totally good. Because look, in the small business world, I don't know any of my small businesses are like, oh, we don't cuss around here. None of my small businesses have ever been like that.
You got to be who you are. You're not going to show up to do services and be somebody else or talk like somebody else. There's no sense in it.
If they can't handle that I love Jesus and I also cuss, then we're not going to work together. It's kind of that simple.
Amen.
That is also what I need to be putting out there. And I have been blocking myself on writing my own content because I think it has to be a certain way. And what we've been getting at in this conversation is that way is no longer working.
Right.
And so even me, I've been like, oh my God, I have up here, I don't care what your business is. So I don't have like a vertical. I don't care what it is. I do care about who you are trying to become.
Right.
And that then has to get like all contented out because I need to go from there because then I go on a rant. And so the rant is not like defined well enough to produce. So let me just stop.
I completely understand where you're coming from. And we've known each other a long time, and our business has definitely evolved. And as somebody that is involved with multiple brands, it can be very tricky to navigate those waters. And who also had 2 podcasts and merged them together. You're correct. The clarity in the content that you put out and your calls to action and how you direct your audience, your potential clients is key. And I have spent a lot of money over the past few years to find out, prepare yourself for this, that I'm not alone in that. You are not alone in what you're saying. You're not.
No, I'm not.
But here's the reality of the situation. Who is holding it up?
It's totally me. My stubborn ass is the one who's like,
yeah,
what? But I do wake up in the morning. Is like, what the hell is wrong with me, God? I need to know.
So then, So one of my coaches, there's an inside hint. One of my coaches said, if you've done things the same way and you get X results, if you continue to do things in that same way, don't expect something to change.
Mm-hmm.
That was a check to write for that information. But no, all jokingly aside, I think you have to invest in yourself.
You do.
Okay?
Yes.
Number one, you have to invest in yourself. But you can also be OCD and cost yourself time. Time is money.
Yep.
In the marketing game, in your own business, time is money. You have great intentions. You have this list of 10 things you're going to eventually accomplish. Newsflash for you. Best thing that I've learned this year. You cannot operate No one pass out there. Make sure you're sitting down. You were stopped if you're listening in your car. You cannot work from a to-do list.
No.
And that has been my biggest takeaway. And at first I was like, what in the hell that is not even feasible. But when I stopped and started paying attention, how my day unfolds, and as marketing professionals, if you're in the IT game, business, it doesn't matter, okay? You have a list of things that come up and you write this list down. Let's say that's 10 items, okay?
Only 10.
Well, let's just say it's 10. It gets better. You start at 8. Amy's making her shake. Your phone rings. I mean, my ad's not performing. I mean, I need you to look into this. Okay. Oh, let me write that down. There's number 11. Now, this one takes precedence over number 1 on my list, so I'm going to work on this. Now we're 3 hours later. You have 5 more things to your list. If you have not put these to-do list items in your calendar and assigned time to devote to those items, they will never get marked off. Your to-do list will only get longer. And that was like, wow. Like, I carry a notebook usually everywhere I go. And I am my own worst enemy. And finding how to automate and delegate, which is a lot of what I help other people do, is from a systems and processes standpoint. You know, there's whole other sides to marketing that we don't talk about. And, you know, how, if you need to wear all the hats, having systems and processes in place, you can save time and all of that stuff. But I wasn't doing it for myself. You put everybody else ahead. And that's right. By the end of the day, instead of my 1-page to-do list, I had 3. Now, do I stay up until 2 or 3 a.m.? Or do I get up the next morning where shit's going to break loose? It's a marketing, advertising, IT. I clump all of them together. Things evolve so quickly and things come up for clients. If you're doing anything for anybody else outside of your own business, how are you ever going to get that list accomplished? That to me was very frustrating, because guess what? Guess what gets put off? Oh, Kristina needs to update her website. I meant to do this new post on Instagram. Oh, I took these great pictures last week at this event. Is it too late to post them? You always get shuffled to the back because it's never had time allocated. We all, I feel like, have some of that struggle. Some it's better for others. Some it's worse. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point, to the realization I cannot hold up the process any longer. And it's not even client work, because that gets on the forefront. It's our own stuff that we've been talking about working on for 2 or 3 years, or we're not pushing out more because this, that, and the other. And our whole purpose is to help people. That's why we do what we do. Well, how many more people are there out there to help if they knew what we do? If they knew what we did, if they knew what our business was about. I mean,
and see, and this is why. So I did little history that you, Kristina, may not know. Amy, I know you know, because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually going to do this. But I did invest in myself last fall, and I attended a masterclass that was through the roof expensive. And it's been extremely worth it, but it has changed the trajectory. And it is absolutely because I'm now in a space of putting me and my things first. The effect of that has not been financially positive yet.
But it will be.
Like today is hurting, right?
Yes.
But I know if I don't stop to do this, I'm never going to get my own business where I want it to go.
And your results are not tomorrow.
Right.
No,
That's long
that
term.
is the key.
It's not.
The results are not tomorrow. For any business out there, like, look, you start an ad today and you get 5 sales tomorrow. Amazing. Awesome. That is
Not typical.
No.
But it's really a long haul game for many things we're talking about. And, you know, I think that's why it's so important about collaborations and connections, because there's plenty of business out there. Not everyone is going to be the right fit. It's not. And that's why I've started doing a lot with collaborations, and I encourage other businesses to do so. You can gain so much more by being together than going at it alone.
Right. And no one wants to work on stuff they don't like to do. Right.
Right.
So instead of doing the to-do list, right, they're always put the thing you don't like to do first. No, just get rid of it. Outsource it to someone else. There's no reason why we have to do something we don't like in our business.
Well, my favorite thing is I can't afford to do that.
You can't afford not to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me turn around here. Are you listening? Are your headphones on?
I'm doing it.
You can't afford not to. That was a big challenge for me because I'm like, wait, I need to add other team people. But
oh, wait, hold on. I said it with such passion for others.
Right. That's why I'm
saying it to me.
Yes.
I got it. I got that.
Yeah, because your mission and what you inspire to do and your creativity, other people deserve to know about that. But it's a juggling act. And then here's the other side of this. Here's where I'm at to share. I've made these changes. Multiple trainings, masterminds, different coaches, all of this, that, and the other. And you implement it and you start offloading and then you start becoming more present. Okay. Then guess what happens? Shit blows up, like in a good way.
Yeah.
Like next thing you know, you blink and you have 12 websites to do and you have, customers that want full days of content creation. And oh my gosh, then you're juggling. Okay, how do I facilitate all of this? And you're finding your own process, your own system. Now, this doesn't mean run out and hire 10 people. That's not what this means, but it's growing pains in a good direction. But realizing I can't do it all, because if you're tied down doing small tasks that can be offloaded to someone else, you can focus on the higher ticketed items.
Yes.
But if you never have the space in your schedule or the space in your brain to do it, you're selling yourself short.
So we've been talking a lot of things, a lot of everywhere. So I told you up front, dear listener and watcher of ours.
Oh, I forgot there was video.
Yeah. Hi. That grab a notebook because there's just a lot of good stuff here. I do want to ask you guys another question because I'm going to kind of.
Do you get what she's doing here, Amy?
Yes.
She's turning the focus off of herself. Okay.
Yes.
I was just making sure you're
We're going to be under the microscope next.
Bite me, first of all. I know I love you, but no, actually,
I must be resonating somewhere.
You are, and it's actually making me feel pretty damn good. I'm like, okay, I just asked for clarity and confirmation this morning in my prayer time. I was like, I just need to know I'm on the right track here. So thank you that it's okay for me to spend time on my own things so that I can get it out and get it going.
And the interesting thing to throw this in, we had a conversation a year or so ago where you were talking about adding to your team, and I was talking about scaling back. And
yeah, how'd that work for you?
But it just goes to show you about evolving.
Right.
Some things may not work like you think, or maybe you weren't in the right frame of mind, and it's okay to make changes inside of your own business.
And this is why I'm such a big proponent. I'm extremely passionate about being strategic. Not just having a strategic plan that you put in a damn binder and stick it on the fucking shelf and never use it. Being strategic says
living strategic,
living strategically.
Yes.
It's a daily lifestyle of you're going to think shit through before you actually do it.
It's being proactive versus reactive.
Yes.
Right. And my business is 6 years old and we've changed it 5 times. Right.
It's
and you're going to test and try things just like but then you figure it out.
And then, of course, back to the whole marketing thing, as you're changing things, how do you let your people know you've got this new thing going on? Because a lot of people, even those that I work with, they're like, I didn't know you were doing this. I'm like, I forgot to freaking tell you. So
email marketing, newsletter,
what?
Text message marketing.
There's 50 million different things that you can do to communicate. Okay. But
communication is key.
Back to, I want to change the subject.
Okay, but wait 1 second though. I know you want to change the subject, but to what Amy said, SoIn Media Group, we've been doing it since 2011, I guess. And you want to talk about evolving. We had 2 print publications.
Yeah.
We also did digital marketing. Most people know us from doing websites.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get away from them, probably because I've done them all the way back to the AOL community. But I genuinely love that because it is the foundation of your business. But where we are today, no print publications, and I was scared and questioned niching down. Like, that's a whole big topic. Do I niche down? Do I not niche down? And I think a lot of times business owners can be a little leery of just going towards a target market, in their focus with their campaigns, with anything like that. And I'm here to tell you, you can do it. You can succeed at it. And the best part about it is you can always make changes.
Yes.
It never has to be in stone. And I think a lot of times just people hearing stories about that, oh, I can relate to you. Oh, you've been in business 6 years and you've went through many changes. And our listeners that are tuning into this can say, you know what, I am okay. I can make it through this just because they're hearing true stories. And I don't think a lot of times people feel comfortable enough opening up. Hey, I tried this. It didn't work. And it's okay. I can spin and try this. You don't ever have to give up. And what you're saying about people not knowing what you're doing, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just shows you the opportunity there is laying out there to share with others what you do have going on, or any business that's listening. There are customers out there waiting to hear your message, buy your product, and use your service. And it's okay if that changes. And it's also okay if you add to or don't do what you've always done.
Yes. Can I change the subject now?
Yes. She's dying.
I am dying here. Because if I don't quickly, I'll forget. So, but you also said something that I'm going to pull out. Elements of truth, hearing true stories. So I want to thread this to the thing I want to talk about next. I want to get your all's opinion on what about those self-proclaimed marketing experts that offer the thing, the package, the whatever, and go. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what she's talking about. You know what she's talking about? I know what you're talking about.
The slick package is going to be the answer to all their prayers.
Okay.
The answer to all the things.
Why? Okay. I've just been through a whole thing on this. So hello. How do people know about that? How do people know that package is out there?
Well, it's through ads.
Oh, these people are using social media and are showing up and pushing their business out there.
Yes, I get how the message gets to me, but the experience of, like, say you take that program, because people that are coming to me now, I'm fixing issues of what those people have proclaimed as.
I'm an expert and you should attend my class or get in my mastermind or buy X because this. And they have hardly any experience.
They're usually in a really nice house with a Lamborghini in front.
So I've just been through a whole thing on this. So do we crucify them because they're using social media to their benefit and they're marketing a piece? Or are we upset with ourselves because we haven't done that in our own business? And I just went through a thing about this and I'm sharing, that question was proposed to me and I was like, that hurt. No comment.
Well,
no, I'm not saying this to you. I wasn't even looking at you.
That hurt. I was like, that's actually a very good question. Is it my own ego that's pissed because of that? But at the same time,
I answered the same way. Wow. I was mad when I heard the question. I was like, well, they shouldn't be getting people to sign up. They've only been doing it a year. I've been in the game for 20 years. Well, whose fault is it if you haven't been telling people about your experience, about your story, and about what products you have? I was pissed.
Well,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
And I don't like the flashy. And I love business coaches as well. And I've used several. But our whole marketing plan for customers is as a super small customer that doesn't even have a budget.
Amen.
And we don't want to. My goal is never to make $1 million off marketing. I just want to help people because I'm a small business owner. I own 2 companies. I know what it's like when payroll has to hit.
Yep.
I know what it's like when taxes are due, unfortunately, Monday, right? But it's helping them navigate and do what's right for that small business community. And the person with the flashy car and a flashy house is fine. There's a place for that. And there's plenty of large corporations out there that have a lot of money that they need to spend in marketing. Go for it. But the mom and pop on Main Street need real information. They need truthful information, even though that information changes, right? Because things constantly change in our field, but helping them determine what's the next best step. It might not even be 5 steps out, but what's the next best thing we can do right now to help turn this around?
And was your question geared more like towards us as coaches and who have maybe products that are out there?
No, like what's been your experience of having to deal with that in the marketplace with your people?
Well, in large corporations, and I'm not going to name names, but we have a company out there that has a package. It's like $450 a month, but they're taking people away from the company's website and creating a landing page for them that doesn't necessarily make sense. So all the SEO work, all the ads, everything's pointing to that landing page. When that business owner stops, they've lost all that traction, right? It's just educating. Here, these are the questions you should ask, right? These are the things that are important to your business. If you spent money on a website, drive people to the website. Don't create a false landing page under another company's name that has their branding on it at the bottom as well, which is also frustrating for me.
On to what you were saying. I think small businesses, they don't have marketing budgets. That's a lot of people we work with. The website's going to cost me how much?
Right.
I need to spend how much a week on ads? The key there is spending something, paying to play. Yes, social media is free, but if you what is your competition doing?
Right.
What is happening? What I originally said was geared towards people that have programs or something they sell online. I originally was like, well, that store, if you think about that store has only been open for a couple months, but I'm not running any ads as a store owner, but they're getting more business. Who am I more frustrated with? Am I frustrated that they've opened and now I have another competitor, or that I haven't marketed my business or advertised?
Now, in that instance, I can absolutely answer that. Honestly, I am absolutely frustrated with myself. If I'm looking at my competition and I see them just rocking it out there on social or ads or whatever, I'm like, fuck, Christy, what the hell have you been doing? What the hell are you doing in a day that you can't get your ass up and moving and getting that? I was like, oh, wait, my clients come first. My clients are happy with me. They're the ones that are paying the bills. Focus. Calm down. It'll all be okay. What they're and what they're doing and who they're talking to, even though we're in the same industry, is not the same person, and it's not what I would ever say. So they are not me. I am not them. They're not talking to my people. If they're talking to people who I think that would be my client, if that person goes to them, they ain't my client.
Right. And you're not going to be a fit for them anyways.
Right. So there's a lot of me having to rein it in and refocus and tell myself, as my own business owner, as my own marketer most of the time, but as somebody who markets for clients and does very well with it, my clients see great results. I have to learn to do the same thing for myself. I have to rein them in all the time. Rein me in. Like I am their calming point. I need to do the same for myself when it comes to my marketing competition.
And a lot of times I think getting someone else involved that is not in your business, whether that be a coach, a consultant, a liaison, whoever that may be, getting someone else involved to help hold you accountable, to help you not only think through the plan, because guess what? When you're in the game every day, and then you shine the light on yourself, it's like okay, where did all my knowledge and experience and expertise go?
Right.
It can be because you're so involved in your business. You're so engulfed.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
No, there is a lot of people. There are a lot of marketing companies that use a different marketing company for their own stuff. That happens. Newsflash, in case you didn't know that, for our listeners. And the thing is you've got to get somebody outside your circle, outside your box. Not saying to come up with your ideas, but to help you think things through, then come up with a plan. But also the plan can be great and can go in a binder, like you said earlier. No. Okay. What's going to get done in the next 30 days? What's going to get done in the first quarter? And again, we're back to, you really can't go too far out. But we're all guilty of it. Client comes first. So if you don't have an outside party to help hold you accountable, you won't move the needle. I can speak from experience. It won't happen. And it frustrates me because I lost a lot of time. We don't do any advertising. All of our business is referral for SoIn Media Group, 100%. We're very fortunate. That's not always the case for people. That says something really strong about us. How many people know that?
Right. And I should be telling that story too, right? We don't always tell our own stories because we're busy telling other people's stories.
We tell people, you should get video testimonials. Are you on your offboarding process, or is video testimonials or a testimonial on your checklist? My husband says, that customer, we finished up that website. It's live. They paid. Did we request a testimonial?
How about a Google review?
Or a Google review, yes. But we're all guilty of it.
Right.
And we're not short on content, guys.
No,
we're not.
We have tons of content.
It is the most ridiculous thing. If you think about it, I went back on our social media. Oh my God. I went back on our social media and I'm like, wow, we haven't really posted much content on social media. I'm telling you, we haven't. I posted a picture of me and my husband right before we went in to work on a project, a video content project. And no joke, I had 2 people reach out to me that said, I've been meaning to call you for a month or so. I saw your post on Instagram and my post didn't have anything to do with business other than like husband and wife team. Like, it's great to be doing a project together because we also do our own individual stuff. Wasn't no call to action. It wasn't, hey, pick up the phone and call me. It just helped keep us top of mind, or it crossed people. I need to reach out to that person.
Yeah.
One of it's going to turn into probably a pretty big project. And we are guilty about not using any of our tools, our experience, our expertise, the whole kit and caboodle. We do not use it in our own business.
Well, I actually use Amy's person, Jennifer, to keep my business channels consistent. She keeps me consistent. That's the whole objective.
But going back to what you're saying too, right? We tell people your messages shouldn't always be salesy and call to action.
No,
because people
a little behind the scenes.
Yeah,
but we don't do our
right showing off real life, right? Because again, people buy and do business with people that they like and know.
They know, like, and trust. Amen to that. How are we inviting them in?
Right. And how are we engaging them into our lives, like for real meaning relationships? Now, I will say I did take a customer to Big Daddy Weave last night and dinner.
Nice.
And it was fun, right? But how do we do more fun stuff like that?
Did you take a picture?
Of the bands, not of us. See?
Did you post it?
No, not yet.
But it's happening when you leave.
It's going to happen today. Yeah. But it's those things, right? When we're engaging or doing community service, how many of us are involved in nonprofits and organizations, and what a way to plug them. And Christy did an awesome thing. Was that fourth quarter when you were highlighting all of your customers, right? And why not?
Strategic partners.
Right. Because there are times our platforms are much bigger than our customers' platform. And what a benefit for them to be featured or highlighted as well.
To collaborate together.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons I started this. I adjusted it was called Small Business Small Talk. I adjusted it to spotlight business owners, small business owners, not the celebrities, not the ones that are, featured in Success or Fortune or anything like that. It's the ones who are doing the daily grind that don't get enough kudos. Like they all have stories. They just need the extra platform, the extra piece of content, the extra thing to share with everybody what their story is. A little bit more real human being stuff happening through this show. I mean, I would love to see big things happen with it. I'm like, I want to take this like on the road, TV, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds like we have a trip planned.
Right. I'm not opposed to Disney.
Oh, I would eat that up. Y'all know I would. In a heartbeat, I would totally do a Disney trip. So
there's always a way to collaborate.
There is.
It's always great to go to locations when you're making something for, when you're building content for something or things like that.
I have been creative with my collaborations. That is for sure. I just had, the previous episode, I had Dallas Montgomery on. So he's local business owner, Montgomery Farms. And I have... You could either call it suckered or sweet talked. I don't know.
Probably a mixture of both, Christy.
So one of my clients is Charcoal and More, dry rubs, barbecue sauces. At a certain point in time, like what the hell else do you do with a cherry apple habanero glaze? Like there's got to be other things to do. So I'm looking at the retail market. I'm like, what else can I do with this besides throw it on a piece of meat on the smoker? Dallas in his former life as a chef. So I'm like, Dallas, what would you do with this? At a networking event, this is how I use my open networking. I find my people like, what would you do? This is my focus groups, my ideas. And he's like, oh, that'd be a great base for a drink or a dressing or a soup. I'm like, would you come cook for me?
Let's shoot a video of it. Right.
Yes. When is this happening?
Yes, because I want to eat.
Y'all missed it. That was Monday.
Did you get your invite?
I did not.
Okay, we won't hold that against him.
I'm working on something that would probably be suckering him into like a girls' night that he cooks for all of us.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's been some really good successful things happen from taking a handful of products. He will smell it. And then off we go to the grocery. We get all the items. We come back, and I help. I'm the sous chef for the night, and the most amazing things have happened right in my kitchen. And it's been wonderful food. So we have multiple recipes now, and yes, some content and multiple recipes for one of my clients. It gives Dallas extra exposure for Montgomery Farms, being a hospitality.
More relatable.
Yes. Relatable.
Yes.
And then, of course, Monday night when he was here, I was like, hey, guess what? I got the podcast room set up. Why don't we do an episode while we're here?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So we did. So I do things like that a lot, or I'll collaborate with even other marketing companies because they're the right talent for my clients. I put together the right talent and I manage all the details. It's kind of the model that I have. But I love the collaboration. I love that we're now moving into this whole thing about being real humans. And honestly, before we got on here, I was telling Amy, this part is now a struggle because we grew up, I'm Gen X, solid Gen X. I grew up in the environment in my career that said you had to do things, be a certain way, look a certain way, talk a certain way. But the marketing game is changed so much. You can't waste time doing that. And I went and attended the TikTok panel thing where Kristina, where you were at the other day. And that was the biggest thread of things is like, okay, take the pressure off, just be raw. Cause that's the thing that's holding my video stuff up. I have to put some makeup on and do my hair cause it needs to be professional looking. Like who wants to hire this to come talk on stage if I look like that? So yesterday morning I had this big epiphany and I needed to tell somebody right then. And like, it was I need to tell people this thing. So I just popped up the phone. I did a live on Facebook. I looked like death warmed over.
It was the cutest startup picture though from your video. I'm just saying.
Screenshot.
I did. It was adorable. And I showed it to her today.
Who would have thought?
I did catch the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But I was walking into a meeting. So
it was, and so I'm just literally sharing my epiphany from the morning, and the amount of comments and likes was like the engagement on that. I was like,
oh, wait, people like you for who you are
and for being raw. Right. I know.
Right. I get it. I learned and I did it. Okay. I learned things yesterday and I immediately applied and magic happened. So this is why
did you take that from the TikTok panel?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm going to need a video testimonial. Thank you.
Why don't you just clip it from this episode?
Why, when I can send you a link and you'll record it for me? You'd be practicing more, right?
Okay, so as we wrap up, because we will be doing this again, I think, if you two are in agreement, for sure. We'll come back again. We'll have more of a...
If you're okay with our soapboxes.
Yeah.
Well, this is true. Like, if you guys out there who are listening and watching, you kind of need to let us know. If you don't want us to get back and have this kind of conversation, I love you,
probably still will. Anyway.
Probably still will. You would just know to skip the next one. But you don't want to. There is still going to be great conversation. In fact, if there is something specific, you're like, hey, I've got this marketing question I need to know. Please send those to me and I'll have them ready for the Marketing Mavens. And we'll have our fourth in here hopefully next time. I don't know if it'll be in this room because 4 people in this room, I'd have to got to move some shit out. I gotta be able to fit everybody in here because literally there's a lot of stuff over on that side of the room right now. It's a tiny room. It's a tiny room.
I have space if you need it.
That's true. You do have a really nice space for podcasting.
Why, thank you. Are you waiting on me to say something? Are you waiting on me? You're welcome. You're welcome to come there.
You're welcome. Okay. So if you have questions, we'll absolutely put those in the pot. We'll try to be a little bit more. No. We'll come talk about, any recent changes. We'll figure out something that's going to be very beneficial for small businesses that you can implement right now. But I think the biggest takeaways for me out of this one is that, first of all, you can't take yourself too seriously. One,
right.
Learn to manage your time to do the things, and then think it through before you do. Like have the plan and reevaluate that plan consistently and not once a year. Like
we're all in this together.
Yep. And roll with the changes.
We cannot do anything about them.
Right.
We can't slow it down. As frustrating as it can be, you have to roll with what's out there to utilize and try to remember how fortunate we are to have those tools.
Yes.
You can be frustrated with it, but how fortunate we are that right now we don't have to pay to use Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn,
TikTok.
Instagram, TikTok,
Google My Business.
GMB,
Yeah.
Google Business Profile, because they want to change the name there too.
Yes. Yeah.
As frustrating as all can be, it has helped level some of the playing field, especially for small businesses, that you do have those platforms to get your message out, no matter how refined it needs to be, no matter how much you need to work on, including video in it. All those things can be addressed as you go, but it's tough to take a step back and be like, you know what, we are lucky that we do have these. So,
yep, absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you so much for your time today. This has been awesome.
yay,
Thank you,
thanks for
Christy.
having us.
And cathartic for myself. Bye.
Bye.
Y'all, did I not tell you? I love having that session, and we will definitely be doing those again. I don't know the pace of it yet, so just stay tuned. Follow us, subscribe, make sure you hit the little button so it notifies you when there's new episodes. Go back and watch and listen to previous episodes. Go dive deeper into each one of those ladies and the businesses that they have. You can do that through smallbusinesssuccesstalk.com. smallbusinesssuccesstalk.com. You can find all of the episodes there. You can also click through to your favorite way that you like to either watch or listen to podcasts and just keep up with this. That'd be great. I do appreciate your time today, this episode, because I know how valuable time is when you don't have a lot to spend. So thank you for spending it with us and investing in your own self and your success path. And I have been your host, Kristy Smallwood. I very much appreciate you. And we will catch you again on the next episode of Small Business Success Talk.